Hi, Dr. Yas here. In this video, I'm going to be discussing the difference between using a barbell versus dumbbells in terms of developing strength. The reason that most people are trying to develop strength, if you found the Yas method, then that relates to the ability to resolve pain, which I have been able to show in 98% of cases is related to some sort of muscular deficit, where the force output of your muscles is less than the force requirement of your activities, and therefore that's why the muscles are straining and eliciting pain. There should be no confusion. If you're trying to establish the cause of pain, you have to establish what tissue's in distress, which is the reason that that tissue is eliciting symptoms. It's to create an awareness of distress of the tissue, resolve the stress of the tissue. It no longer has to elicit the symptom anymore, and your symptoms resolve. And the Yas method, we've been able to show over 27 years treating 15,000 people that the cause in 98% of cases is muscle, even when diagnostic test findings through the use of MRIs or X-rays have shown structural variations. They existed well before. They have nothing to do. They are an independent finding, independent to the tissue in distress eliciting your symptoms. So in 98% of the cases, it's muscle. So we know that we're going to have to do some sort of strength training to increase the force outputs of the muscles that are straining so that they can perform the activity without straining and eliciting symptoms. So throughout the course of the 27 years I've been doing this, the higher percentage of people, I truly acknowledge, don't have access to a gym or simply don't want to go to a gym, so we use resistance bands. And that's great. I would never deny there is an absolute tremendous benefit to resistance bands. But some people actually do like to go to the gym or do have access to a gym and want to understand what's the most beneficial way to use the equipment at the gym. And the choice is there, dumbbells or barbells. So the key thing that I want people to understand about why you should not use a barbell is because when you look at how you use the barbell, you are locking your hands into the barbell, and as a result, when moving the barbell, the motion that you create is linear. It's up and down, it's out and in, and as a result, it takes away the ability of your joint to move rotationally. If you look at the way joints work, you have rotation. The bigger joints are all ball and socket. So you have the socket, you have the ball of the bone that's connecting into the joint, and it rotates. The bone rotates around the joint. It's rotational. So if we would say we were going to do a military press, you would see that if I started the exercise, my elbow is the upper arm's length away from my ear. As I continue the process, my elbow comes closer in so that when I complete the motion, now my upper arm is actually directly next to my ear. So as you can see, my elbow's upper arm away, right next to. Upper arm away, right next to my ear. So what you see is rotational motion. Now, if I was to have a barbell in my hands, locking both my hands in, you would see that my hands can no longer move towards my ear. And as a result, the way that my arm bone is moving in the shoulder joint is going to be impeded from its natural arcing motion. And as a result of that, it's going to move the head of the humerus, the head of the upper arm bone, in a way that's not appropriate. It doesn't fit the mechanical nature of how the joint works. So as a result, it's probably going to run up into an inappropriate way. The highest percentage of people that end up doing bench pressing, incline press, military press, and even barbell curl are ending up having pain, tendinitises. In the case of the shoulder, most likely bicep tendinitis. The reason for this is because once you lock your hands into that barbell, only linear motion can be created. You can no longer get rotational motion, and all joints work on a rotational concept. You can see it. The head of the arm bone sits in the socket, and the bone runs around the joint. Rotation. So the key thing to understand is that if you plan on doing weightlifting in a gym, and you're trying to figure out what's the best way of utilizing the equipment, I implore you to not use barbells. Do not use barbells. The highest probability is that you're going to end up injuring your tissues that surround the joint for the very reason that barbells lead to linear motion, where the motion in joints, certainly your bigger joints, are all rotational. So the barbell impedes the natural motion of the joint. So one bone moving on the other bone is going to move inappropriately and lead to irritation in the joint. The only place where I would suggest a barbell is effective is, say, for instance, if you're doing squats where you have the barbell on your shoulders, or if you were doing a straight leg deadlift where you're running the bar down your legs. That's a case where you're simply utilizing the bar to support the resistance, but you're not moving the bar. So the bar is not being used to create the motion of the exercise. That's very different. In those cases, certainly a bar can be used, and as you get up into heavier and heavier weights, the barbell creates a greater stability than if you were trying to support dumbbells. So imagine like I do a 405-pound squat, right? So I have that on my neck and I'm supporting it that way by balancing it. But imagine I had to try to support in this fashion two 200-pound dumbbells. It would become very difficult for me to support those while I'm trying to focus on doing the exercise with my legs. That's why when we use heavier and heavier weights, in those type of instances, a squat or a straight leg deadlift, it's more beneficial to use the bar, a barbell. So, just to recap, when we're using the resistance within the exercise to create the motion of the exercise, military press, incline press, so military press, bench press laying down, incline press laying down, even a bicep curl, you can see that my hand does not run directly anatomically in line with my elbow. So with the hand being out there, it's not going to allow me to eventually be able to bring my hand in. The way you're supposed to complete the bicep curl is with the hand in front of the shoulder. The barbell impedes that ability, changes the ability of the joint to function properly. So we don't want to use barbells for exercises where the resistance is being moved in the range of motion that's part of the exercise. But if we're doing a squat, a straight leg deadlift, where it's simply being used to support resistance while another joint, independent of where I'm holding the resistance, is doing it, that's fine. And actually quite appropriate as you get to heavier and heavier exercises, okay? So, just like the title says, barbell bad, dumbbells good, all right? Now, if you like the video, it makes sense to you, give it a thumbs up. If you like my channel, Dr. Mitchell Yas on YouTube, please subscribe. This is the type of information you're going to get. This is scientifically based information. This is not opinion. This information is highly applicable. It allows you to use the information to achieve your goals, whether it's that you're trying to resolve pain, whether it's you're trying to enhance your systemic value, whether you're trying to just simply maximize your functionality and you need to strength train. Understanding the difference between using barbells and dumbbells will critically determine the success you have and whether you might inadvertently be hurting yourself. That's why this information is so critical. So please subscribe if you like this information, all right? So for now, this is Dr. Mitchell Yas wishing you a pain-free, fully functional life. Bye-bye for now.